All right, everybody. On your marks, get set. Let's go. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another installment, yet another edition of Work Your Career Wednesday. As always, I'm Bradley Clark, thrilled, honored, and blessed that you decided to tune in and join us today. I have an incredible guest today, and if you've been a fan of the show, now we're going into next year will be our second year. You're going to know who I'm talking about. We're talking about Corey Jackson, former NFL star and now CEO of one of the emerging recruiting firms, Quirks. Uh, One of the best emerging recruiting firms around. This guy, if you're on LinkedIn, he gives it to you straight. And this is coming from a CEO, okay, former NFL CEO of a recruiting firm. He's very much in the workforce, and he gives you the straight stuff. So please make welcome my guest today, and welcome back, Corey Jackson. Corey, what's up, man?
Oh man, hey, thanks for having me back too, man. It's good to be back. It's been a little while, and we had a great conversation. I think we went kind of long last time too, so but it was
We
great. It
did.
was great, and so thank you for having me back.
Oh, it's absolutely our pleasure, certainly my pleasure. And I got to tell you, the last time we were here, it was interesting. We did go very long, and we were just trying to figure this whole podcasting thing out, and trying different things. And we were able to cut up that interview into three. So we did a three-part interview. Ended up being a three-part interview with you, and one of our most viewed. I've gotten so many DMs. You used to say mail. You know what I mean? Like people
Yeah.
would write in, but I've gotten so many messages about that show. It continues to touch people. It continues to touch people's hearts, and it really gives them a leg up on a lot of what you know we're going through. You know, and here's the one thing that I love about you. When you do, and it's almost every day, if not
Mhm.
every day, during your workout, you're on that bike and you go live on LinkedIn. And sometimes when I'm up at the crack of dawn, I catch it. Usually I catch it when it's over, but you just shoot straight. And there was one thing, and I want us to talk about this, and I'm bringing it up now because I don't want to forget. But you were at the gym the other day and you posted this thought that you have, which I believe, and again, we're red letter friendly here.
Mhm.
I believe it was divinely inspired.
Mhm.
You said, and it goes to scripture when it talks about, we're not going to get off on that, but it goes to the scripture of you'll know them by their fruit.
Mhm.
But you said we get so involved in the fruit that we forget we're the tree.
Yeah.
People come, they pick the fruit, and then they leave, and then we get sad. I am absolutely guilty of that. When I lost it all, and praise God, I've been able to, I don't want to say recover.
Mhm.
I don't want to say that because it's not recovery. It's new. It's all new. But, when I went through a heavy financial breakdown, and all of us have gone through it at some point or another, man, everybody left. Not everybody, but there's a lot of people that I thought would stick around that left, and that really hurt me. But and then I ended up forgetting that I'm the tree. And we're going to get into that heavy today. But and we talked about this before we went on. We cannot um move forward without acknowledging um the events of this past weekend and the assassination attempt on former President Trump. I, I I'm gonna be quiet, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And again, I'm going to speak for all of us at Work Your Career Wednesday. I know I can speak for Corey. Our prayers go out to the family that lost their dad and the two others that were injured. But I tell you, it would have been it's a different world now, but it would have been an entirely different world and conversation if he hadn't have moved. We would have been having a very different conversation. But Corey, I wanted to give you the floor.
Yeah, just like you said, you hate to see that on either side. You don't want to see that. Obviously, the world we live in, we would like to think that we're better than that,
Yeah.
and we can operate at a higher level. Um, but just kind of me watching the video and seeing it happen, um, it was kind of surreal, right? It's like here we are in 2024, came this far. Obviously, there's going to be disagreements on policy, disagreements on the right, the left, and how everybody sees things, and that's just a part in the nature of what politics is. But to see it come to the extreme of someone literally attempting to assassinate former President Trump, it was just unreal. Like it was just unreal.
I got to tell you, I'm pretty, I'm, uh, I'm pretty level, in a crisis.
Mm,
But I couldn't believe we were seeing that. I couldn't, like you said, I couldn't believe we're in 2024, and here we are. I mean, like you said, you'd like to think that we're above it, that people are operating at a higher frequency. But
mhm,
then I got to thinking about that, and it's like if they were, then we wouldn't have to talk about operating at a
mhm.
higher frequency. It would just be something that we do. And I just thought, I, it it it, uh, it shook me a little bit. And I was talking to one of my best friends. He's former Navy, and he fought in war, and he's like, it doesn't matter who's in that office. It doesn't matter. You that is the office. That's the presidency. That's and it was sure what got me though is that the same guy told me and my wife to stay off social media, to stay off social, please stay off social. And I was shocked. I was shocked to see some and to watch some of these videos, and I had to get off of it immediately. I don't
Yeah,
know if you saw any of that.
yeah, I
Oh
definitely
boy.
did. I definitely did. There's takeaways that I take away from things, just from a leadership perspective.
Mhm.
Um, the ability to be in a crisis and keep your wits about you, be able to gather yourself and be in the moment. Um, that's what I saw happen with President Trump, former President Trump. I mean, he literally was in that moment and he was able to like keep his wits and like recognize the moment. He recognized the magnitude of that moment in a split second. And whether you are a Trump supporter or you're not a Trump supporter, when you think about just operating at the highest frequency, operating at the highest level in moments of crisis, that spoke volumes, right? You saw a
Mhm.
person that was like, "Hey, hold on, let me, let's
Let me
get
get
this
my shoes.
yeah, let me get this together, and then let me acknowledge the crowd, right? Let me acknowledge the
Yeah,
people that's here that came to hear me speak, who's experiencing this very experience at the same time as I am. And
that's
so,
right.
whether you like the man, hate the man, there's just certain things to me that stands out in a moment of crisis.
It was an incredible display of leadership. Secret Service said the shooter's down. They're trying to get him up. And I don't know if people understand what happens in that moment when that dog pile is happening,
Mhm.
but what they're doing is they're checking for wounds.
Mhm.
So that involves taking off the shoes, that involves, a lot of things. Um, they're checking just like it would be on a battlefield, right?
Right.
They're checking him everywhere. And so when he gets up, he wants to put his shoes on, and he recognized I one thing that was really impressive about the crowd is that, and I'm not going to get into the fact that the guy shouldn't even been on that roof. There was a lot of people saw that man or
Mhm.
that kid, whatever you want to call him. He was on that roof, and people saw him on the roof, pointing, yelling. There's a guy on the roof. He's right there. And, you don't know what you're going to do in that moment. I'd like to think that, if he was in South Carolina, if he was in Texas, none of that would have happened in the first place.
Yeah.
But truth be told, I don't know. I don't know what people would have done in that situation. I've always thought, man, I wish I could go back in time and tackle President Kennedy, before but you
Yeah.
don't know what's going to happen. But what was so amazing is, like you said, he recognized the moment. I loved that the crowd, they didn't disperse. They didn't freak out. They didn't, they were there. They were there. And he knew he had to calm the crowd at least. And that fist pump saying, fight, 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 let him know I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Because,
I think there was a lot of messages happening in split seconds, right?
yeah, all at the same time.
Like even with the fist pump, I felt like it was more of a display of, you know, the importance of the time we in right now,
Mm,
and why it's so important for us to fight for what we want at this current time. And so
that's right.
seeing that to me was like him recognizing the moment and saying, "Hey, you know, this is why this is so important. There's a reason why this is happening, right?
Yeah,
And we have to make sure that we continue to fight for what we want." And that was the message that
1000%.
that I saw when I was watching it.
I wholeheartedly agree, and, as a former, well, I guess, well, I'm leading the show, but I've been a CEO before. And, you're a current CEO, you know, and what I've learned along my years, I don't think I should have been a CEO when I was. I think I was far too young
Hmm.
to do that. But when you're in that position, there's so many things that have to come together, and whatever like you said, whatever crisis there may be,
Hmm.
you could be facing having to close your doors. You could be facing having too much success. And then, just like the old saying goes, if you have a hit, expect a writ, you know? I
Yep.
mean, there's so many things that could be crises that you have to keep your head together. And now, and and I want to ask you this, as a CEO, I mean, you were a leader on the football field. You were a leader on the basketball court. I mean, just you going, not even having a scholarship to a
Hmm.
school, getting on a bus and driving, 3 days on that bus to get to Texas. That takes such a level of, I believe in myself. I know what my gifts are, and I know I can perform at a high level. Let me show you. But then you get an opportunity to be a leader. You start Quirks. So as a leader, as a CEO, and all of the officers that you have down, because you're a founder as well. You're not just a CEO, you're a founder of Quirks,
Yep.
an amazing recruiting firm. How important is it to, we're Americans. We have that freedom of speech, and that's including freedom of speech in the workplace. How do you navigate that? Or do you navigate sort of the climate and the culture? I saw this great meme the other day that said the feeling you have in your stomach on Sunday night will dictate what kind of culture you're in. So how do you navigate that with the kind of climate that we're in? How do you navigate that in the workplace?
Yeah, I would say being a CEO and leading a company is probably one of the hardest things you can do because you have so many different personalities, different belief systems. You're trying to pull together all of these different dynamics that are sometimes total opposites of each other. And you're trying to get everybody to get on one accord and fight for one thing. And I think the best thing that I can do is to make the mission clear enough so that the people that believe in the mission will want to follow that mission, right? Because when we
Right.
start to look at it as individuals, and I played on teams my whole entire life. But when you operate as an individual, it's totally different than operating as a team member. And so, getting them to be cohesive and work for a common mission really alleviates a lot of the other things that come with being an individual. And now we're a team and we're fighting for a common thing, even though I may believe something different or I may have a different political party that I subscribe to or whatever the case may be. We still have a common goal and a common mission. And it's okay for us to be different. And it's okay for us to have different opinions and different thoughts. And matter of fact, it's necessary for us to be the best that we can possibly be, to have these different opinions and ideas to challenge each other, but never forget the importance of the mission and being on one accord with the mission.
I love that. I love that. It's so important that people are free. And I mean, and if truth be told, people haven't been. They haven't been free to express themselves in the way that they'd like to. They haven't been free. And when I say the way they'd like to, just simply you know, saying who they support,
Yeah.
it's been real taboo. And but you're navigating all of these things that, you know, someone may be on the far right or the far left or whatever. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're apolitical. Who knows? But they all have an opinion about something.
Mhm.
But bringing them in one accord on mission. We had a hurricane that came through here, and it that anyway. Center pointless. I hope you see this. Um, Terrible, terrible stuff that we've been going through. And but I've really been watching the leaders and how they're dealing with it. And I got to say, I'm impressed with how they've come together,
Mhm.
right? It's funny, it takes a crisis to get everybody on mission. What I'm so impressed about you, and I'm actually connected with a few of your people. Man, they're on mission, brother. They're on mission. And that's awesome
Yeah, I would
to
I
have
would
that kind of respect.
I would definitely speak to, like, so we have a larger mission, right? It's not just
Yeah.
about helping companies and placing
Right.
candidates and all that stuff. We have a big mission to help stay-at-home parents, single parents,
Mm,
get into the workforce and work on quote unquote a part-time basis, but still make a full-time salary, right? And
mm,
so getting tens of thousands of people to six figures working in a space that is all about the family dynamic. That's the real mission, right? And so our real mission is to be able to support families across the gamut, right? And so I'm a huge, and you know me, so I'm a huge family guy.
yep.
And so how I look at my family and how we construct it, and the importance of having, you know, economic success, but also the importance to have the presence of parents there, hands on, is a beautiful thing, and that's something that we strive for. And so we created a process to allow our recruiters to come in and say, "Hey, here's how you can work more efficiently, more effectively, in less time, less hours, but still be able to." Uh, Make a salary that's going to contribute to your household in a significant way. And so, because our mission is outside of recruiting and outside of business and all those things, I think it's easier for people to come together with that because we can relate. My family is
Mm,
important important, your family is important, and so we all know that we're doing this for a bigger reason.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I've noticed that, and when I was recruiting, that was a big thing with me too. There was something, it was so much more, than, even on the sales side, or even especially on the sales side, when, when you're working a full desk, as I did most of my career, it wasn't just a one-sided goal. I wanted to get the best people in there so that you know, that there would be longevity for whomever was hiring them. And then for the candidate, I want their life to change. I want to be a part of their story. And you're absolutely right. The mission has to be greater than the goal of the number,
For sure.
right? Whenever I've done anything for just the money, it's never worked out right. It's never worked out right. But
Yeah.
when there's more to it and there's something backing that goal, I mean, spot on. And that's why Quirks is doing so well. And I have got to ask you this, man. You have been posting a lot on LinkedIn about engineering, and engineering is my jam.
Yeah.
That's I made my bones in creative mostly, and engineering mostly, right? And IT too, but engineering is where it's at. And there's so many maybe we shouldn't even talk about it. I don't know. I don't know.
So keep
But
it under
I
wraps.
well, so I had Aaron Dirk on last week, and he's an engineer over at Immubit. Incredible. He is one of the best engineers I have ever known. And he's an even better person, you
Mm,
know? And we were talking about it a little bit, and I want to ask you, there's a lot of recruiters that are just and recruiting companies. That's the other thing.
mhm.
Like they're stuck in help desk world. You know what I mean? They're stuck in IT land
Yep.
where, oh, and even when IT touches what they do, they're stuck in, well, it's a very complicated skill set. And, not, you know what I mean? Oh, well, we may have to, go outside the state for that. Oh, not a lot of people, as if they know, as
Yeah.
if they've even touched engineering. Why do you think it's such a, I mean, is it that they can't believe that they can place and represent and know about the guy that built the bridge that you go over every day? Is it
Yeah.
that they don't understand that, the gas that you put in your car was an engineer did that?
Yeah. I think we're at a very interesting time. And I'm sure you're probably going to understand this when I say this, but um, those two worlds that you just spoke of is now emerging. And so
Yeah.
a lot of the engineering space is becoming digitalized. And so it's creating a new dynamic um, that's opening up new opportunities. And companies are trying to figure out the transition of that merger so that they can be able to get the best talent possible to be able to fulfill these opportunities that are obviously we're headed for in the future, right? And so honestly, it's not about either or anymore. It's starting to become a merger of abilities and skill sets that's happening. And as things become even more digitalized, you're going to see more and more changes, new types of roles, new types of skill sets required as well. And so those things are forging forward right now, and we having those conversations with our clients in real time.
Well, I think it's really interesting. You have to have those conversations. You know, Now when I was at Amybit, we were, or they are, we are, so weird, the vernacular. Anyway, because I still love that company so much, and, but they're technically in the IT space in that it's a software,
Mhm.
but it's an AI that takes that optimizes a plant. It's like having a chemical engineer times 1,000 with 1,000 years of experience.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I just don't understand how. And here's the funny part. So when I was at another company before Immubit, um, we were kind of stuck in this IT land. Nothing wrong with IT. Love IT. It's great. But we were stuck in that. And I said, listen, we need to do engineering. No, Brad, stick with what you know. And I'm like, but I do know. And I'm telling you. So I just went off on my own. And I proved that it can happen. Navitas Midstream was one of my biggest clients. And one of the reasons that Enterprise Products bought Navitas were the people that I placed there on the projects that they were working on. I mean, it was like a $12 billion acquisition. And it's like, listen, we can do this. We can do engineering. If you don't want to do it, fine. Stay in help desk land. That's cool. There's a lot of people that need a lot of work. It's just that there's a lot of all of that. And the way they shrink your margins on contract is ridiculous. So the more I started doing it, the more they were open to it, and I did very well. I did very well placing engineers, and it's a different conversation with engineers too. I think that's the other thing, is that recruiters forget that they had to ask the question of an IT professional to understand what they did. At least I did.
Mm-hmm.
My best education came from, all right, man, I don't know what you do. Tell me what you do, brother.
Yep.
And just having those conversations. And I think they forget that that's if that's how they learned. Just ask the engineer. They'll love telling you what they do.
Oh yeah,
It's
100%, 100%.
it's like, so I'm so glad. And when you post, what was it, $578 billion in I think it was something like that. I forget the number. It was in the billions of
Yeah.
engineering money that's
Yep.
out there, and there's
Yeah,
just a few
definitely
firms that do it.
Yep, over half $1 trillion out there. I mean, yeah.
Well, Quirks is one of the companies that it's taken a bite out of that.
Yep.
That's unafraid.
Yeah, for sure. And we have to kind of what you said earlier, even with some of our recruiters, we have to get them on board, right? Because like you said, people get used to what they're used to.
Yeah.
And sometimes they get set kind of in their ways and they're saying, hey, I just want to do this. But when we show them where the larger opportunity is and say, hey, like you're gonna miss out on this opportunity because this is what's hot right now. And when you see these large acquisitions of engineering agents, recruiting agencies, and people paying $2-3 billion for these companies, you know that there's something bigger happening, and then also where we're going in the future, and you're seeing it. It's expanding where a lot of places are shrinking, kind of like what I alluded to. With technology and AI, it's shrinking certain places. Well, in this engineering space, it's not doing that. It's kind of doing the opposite, right? And then it's also allowing those technological advances to grow the space and work congruently with kind of how engineering has been traditionally happening. And so as it evolves, it just keep expanding. And if you're not, at the party, you're definitely going to miss out for sure.
I absolutely love that. And real quick, do you want to stay around for this ad I'm about to talk about?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
want to stick around for it?
Yeah, I hang out.
No. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I
Yeah.
was just, help me out with it. Listen, if you have anything, everything, and all the things that you need for video, even marketing and some advertising, we're even advertising in Times Square. You got to go to White Husky Films. I'm telling you, it's very simple. All you have to do is dream. Get in touch with White Husky, www.whitehuskyfilms.com. Then we create and then we record, all in that order. And when you choose White Husky, let me tell you something, you will be so glad you did. So get in touch with White Husky right away. And real quick, we got James Physical Therapy. Corey, let me ask you a question. How important, and this is from a former NFL star. How important is physical therapy?
For me, it's paramount, right? Because as we kind of grow through life, I don't want to say get old, right? But as we grow through life, um, you have to focus more on your body, um, so that your body can take care of you the way you need it to. And
Mhm.
so for me, I'm always working on my body. I'm always trying to figure out a way to feel better. I want to get up every day and feel good, and I think that we all deserve that. And so I think it's paramount. I think if you're not focusing on your body, like kind of the saying goes, anything you neglect, you lose, right?
Mm.
And so we don't want to neglect our bodies. And so for me, it's paramount.
Well, absolutely. I was watching that Netflix show Receiver.
Hmm.
Saw a team PT come in and take care of I think it was Debo, and
Yep.
he was going through an injury. And I was like, oh, yeah, I need to hire about 8 of those right now in the New Orleans area. So you've heard it from someone that would know. I'm telling you. And thanks, Corey, for doing that. Um, and really giving people an idea, especially coming out of surgery. These are home care physical therapists. So they're going to come to your house and they're going to take care of you. And we need 8 of them. Full time PTs. We'll do PRN. We'll even do part time, but we are hiring right now. So go to Janes, JAYNES PT. You can see it scrolling and get in touch with me. We're going to talk anyway. So get in touch with me at 713 364 8777. And I'm telling you, help someone while you're helping yourself. We pay so well. And it's really great. Kind of like Quirks, pretty awesome. But anyway, and thanks for doing that, Corey. Really, I
Yeah, my
appreciate
pleasure.
that. Um, we were, I mean, bro, when I saw that post, and I just want you to just, if you wouldn't mind, man, just go off on this. Because when I told you that will preach, my bro.
Yeah.
That will preach. We focus so much on the fruit that we neglect where the tree. That's happened to me, man. I honestly, when you said that, I'm man enough to admit it. I got a little, I wouldn't show nobody, but I got a little emotional. I did. I was like, man, that spoke directly to my heart. It convicted me all at the same time. Man,
Yeah.
can you just talk about that? And we can talk
Yeah.
about that. I mean, forever if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I think far too often we think that we are the gift, right? And so because we think we're the gift, our ego and our emotions get all caught up in people are here for Corey, right? People are coming to see Corey, but when you've been given something, which is a gift, they're coming for the gift, right? And so the example of the fruit and the tree is we're the tree, so we produce the fruit, right? That's our job, right? Once we produce the fruit, people supposed to come and consume that fruit, right? Which we love. The
Yeah.
problem we have is when people leave, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, well, wait a minute, you supposed to be here to see me, right? And so, but in all actuality, they're here for the fruit, right? And so the good things that we can do in this world, the things that we can give, the things that we can create for people, they supposed to come and consume them and leave, and then we supposed to produce more fruit,
More
right?
fruit.
But
Yeah.
if we don't understand that, our feelings get hurt or our ego get bruised or whatever it is, and then we stop doing our job, which is to produce the fruit, right? And so it's important to understand that we're the tree, and it's important to understand that people are supposed to come and consume and leave, right? And then we're supposed to do our job over and over again. But once again, like the more we understand this, the better we can operate in our true gift, right? We get mad at the gift, right? We get mad because it's like, oh, they just
Yeah.
come because they want something. That's what we're here for, right? I'm
Right.
here to give Bradley something, right? Bradley's here to give me something, right? If Bradley
Yeah.
doesn't have anything for me today, That's okay, right? It's okay for me to be like, okay, he don't have anything for me today. I'm gonna go get something else. But for Bradley, if Bradley's like, wait a minute, you just come to get something from me today? Like, yeah, like we supposed to be contributing to each other at a high level. And I think that the more we understand that we're the tree, the more humble we are, right? We
Yeah.
understand that we've been given something. We've been given something, and our job is to give it out. And when we give it out, people use it, and they grow from it. And it's not about us. The only thing about us as a tree is we just keep reproducing, right? We have to keep reproducing. The beautiful
Right.
thing is, if you think about a Michael Jordan or a LeBron James or a Tom Brady, right? Watch how this works, Bradley. Michael Jordan won 6 NBA championships, right?
Hmm.
As long as Michael Jordan was playing, people wanted him to do it again, right?
Yeah.
Tom Brady won 7 NFL Super Bowls, right? If he came back right now, people will want him to do it again, right? Like, and so
Yeah.
that's our process. We're supposed to be able to do it again, right? And
Yeah.
that's why we get confused. We're thinking like, oh, I did that yesterday. We should be good, right? We even now, right? You see, no, like you have to produce every single day. And there was a point in this world where if you didn't produce that day, you didn't eat that day, right?
Hmm.
And so these are the things that, hypothetically, when you're talking about just us moving through life, we're supposed to be producing, whether that's our energy, whether that's our insights, whether that's our ideas, our creativity, all of these things. For me as a CEO, creating jobs and open up opportunities, I have recruiters come to us and say, "Hey, I want to work for Quirks, but I have a long-term vision of owning my own firm." I'm like, "Great. Let me show you how this works." Right? Let me show you from start to finish, like what this side of things look like when you sit in the CEO seat, right? I don't say,
Hmm.
"Hey, you come in for my information." I'm like, "No, I got the information. I have the understanding. I have the know-how. I'm supposed to share it with you, right? And maybe at some point in life we do business together. Either way,
Yeah.
I'm fine because I'm going to keep producing more fruit. And there's there's no shortage of what we can produce, right? And so as long as you have that mindset and you know, like, hey, I'm gonna continue to produce, then you don't feel like you lost anything. I think people get afraid that they can't produce and can't do it again, and they feel like, oh, I've given everything. No, you never
No.
given everything. It's a limitless supply. That's why we're connected to what we're connected to, right? That's how we've been
Yeah.
created.
Gosh, that's so good. That's so good. As you were talking, I was like, people get mad at us if we don't produce it again. You have a hit, right? And that's a part of your lexicon, the soundtrack of your life. And then if you don't have another one for a while, then you're called a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you go and you try to, later on, try to tour or do whatever on that fruit that was yesterday.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
it's
it's
yesterday.
it's a beautiful thing if you think about it, because what happens is we get confused about, like, so seasons are different, right? Sometimes,
Yeah.
I'm gonna produce way more fruit, right? I'm gonna
Right.
produce so much fruit that maybe some of it even spoils, right? And then sometimes it's just a smaller amount of fruit that's produced. We get caught up in our ego because we want to always create and produce the big amount of fruit, like, and
Right.
so okay, this batch wasn't that big, you know what I'm saying? Like, but that was what I had, right? And so if
Right.
you can be satisfied knowing like that was what I can produce at that time, then that's okay. And then at some point, I'm gonna continue to produce, and maybe I do another huge batch again, right? But we'll keep trying to recreate the thing that we've done, but we've already done it. So it's time for new fruit, right?
Come
And
on.
the beautiful thing about us, Bradley, that's really different than the tree, the example of the tree or the fruit tree, right? The fruit tree can only produce one fruit, right?
Mm-mm.
We, as the tree, I can produce fruit as an athlete and then run my course, right? I can't produce no more over here. Now I can go over here as a CEO and produce
Mhm.
and build a company and produce. as a CEO, and then if it runs its course, I can go over here as a politician, and like I can continue to
Right.
like produce different types of fruit, and I can produce different types of fruit in the same season. So
Oh
we
man.
don't have a limit on how much fruit we can produce and how many different types of fruit we can produce, right? And so we just have to lean into our gift, right? The gift is the thing. The gift is going to take us to where we want to be.
Yeah.
And if we understand that, because our gift can produce for us what we can't, right? Like our gift can produce for us what we can't. And what I mean by that is we all have to survive in this world, right?
Hmm.
So I go out, get a job to pay my bills, right?
Hmm.
That's me providing. My gift is sitting here though. My gift is still here, right? And I'm going to do a job to provide for my family.
Hmm.
When I get home, if I don't activate my gift, that's shame on me, right? So I went out and produced what I could, right, outside of my gift. But you never should neglect your gift. So when you get home, it's game time. All right, I'm supposed to be writing this book. I'm supposed to be writing the novel. I'm supposed to be building the model. I'm supposed to be working in that gift, right? And so, and I know you like to kind of lean into the biblical conversations, and so there's a passage that says I want to say it was Solomon that said it, and I'm not going to say it verbatim because I don't have it,
Sure.
in my mind. But it basically says, kind of what I was saying. You're supposed to go out and produce, right, and do things.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in the evening time, you should not be idle. And what that means is, I got to go do what I have to do. But when I get done doing that, I got to turn to my gift in the evening time and work on my gift. Because if I do that, I'm going to be good on both sides of this thing. And sometimes we forget that, so we'll go out and have to provide, and then we'll come home and neglect our gift, and then we end up having to do this for 40 years, right? When we was only supposed to do it for 5 or 4, or and so now we're stuck in a life that wasn't even meant for us.
Oh my goodness. That's so good. That's so good.
And that's the thing, Bradley. Like we have to understand how to operate, and biblically, the Bible tells us pretty much from A to Z
Yeah.
what we're supposed to do. And if we pay attention to that, we'll understand it, and then we're able to have the successes we need. We're not meant to just be one thing. We're just not meant to.
Yeah.
But with wisdom, right, we understand we have to go out and work, and sometimes that work is outside of our gift, and that's fine. But then when we get out of that work, we can't neglect our gift, right? And a
Mm.
lot of times we do that because we in our minds it tells us we're so tired, I'm so exhausted, I've done.
Right.
But if you lean into your gift, when you cut off that job, that spark is gonna hit, and you can be like, okay, now it's time to really do the fun stuff, right? Um, and that's the attitude that we have to have in order to make sure that we're living the right way. Because a lot of times we're suffering for no reason.
So, good friend of mine. Um, he's in the business, and this man was billing, bro. Like billing. I was really proud of him. Something happened, and he had to quit drinking.
Mm,
So suddenly, he's seeing reality for what it is. So he was neglecting his gift on the off time because there really isn't any off time
hmm hmm
by self-medicating for whatever reason. And now he's in a situation where he's he's seeing things for the way they are, and he's shocked.
hmm
You know what I mean? Like he stopped billing so high. Things are going, all these things are coming at him that he didn't see. And you know what's great about it? It's like what you said something the other day about resistance, and I commented, without resistance, a plane won't fly.
Mhm. Mhm.
So now he's getting to where he's operating more. He's operating more in his gift, and he sees it, and he's like, "Man, I feel like I feel good. I feel like I'm a I've never heard him say this, but he's like, "Man, I'm a better person," you
Mhm.
know. And I'm like, what you're saying is, oh my goodness, it's so true. It's like, operating in your gift could be um, making sure that the gift that you currently are operating in is at its peak performance. Like
Mhm.
athletes, get in there. Kobe is a great example. There was no off time. You are a great example. There was no off time.
Yep.
But I think some of that too comes with age and
Mhm.
wisdom. You know, um, I remember the first time I got a whole lot of money, and I earned every penny.
Mhm.
But boy, let me rephrase that, Corey. But I earned every penny. So dumb. And I was just doing stupid things. I had financial advisors tell me, I've had one of them actually say, "Are you trying to screw up your future? Like, is that
Wow.
what you're trying to do?" You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Your advisor is telling you stop. But I was in my own thing to where I felt like I'm operating in my gift. I wasn't operating in my gift. It was just the fruit that I had produced.
Mhm.
And I thought the fruit would always be there because there was so much of it. And I didn't realize that after a while, that fruit's going to either spoil or it's not going to be there, you
Yep.
know? And then, but then the other thing you're saying, you know, people get mad at you if you don't reproduce the fruit. They
Yeah.
get, okay, so we want to go biblical. When Jesus cursed the fig tree, he didn't
Mhm.
curse the fig, he cursed the tree because it wasn't producing. He was hungry. It should have been producing. It was seasoned for figs. It didn't produce. He cursed the tree. The tree withered immediately.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
And think about how
Like,
deep that is, right?
so deep.
It's like, what does that mean for us? If
Mm-hmm.
I'm not producing the fruit, right, that I'm supposed to produce, what happens
Uh-huh.
to me, right? And it's so deep, Bradley, that we're not supposed to have a bunch of downtime, right?
No.
We're not supposed to have a bunch of downtime, like, and people don't understand that either, right? But even from the Bible standpoint, it even like leads it to like it not only brings on temptation, right, and other things,
Mm-hmm.
but it also like it's like yielding death, right? Like that's how the Bible put it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like if you're not connected to this thing and you're not using this thing, right, then you're getting closer to death.
Mm.
That's a powerful thing, right? And so we want to not engage our gift. I heard it put this way: anything you don't manage, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Anything you don't manage, you're gonna lose, right? That's your whether that's your relationship, whether that's your business, whether that's your
Mm-hmm.
gifts, right? If you don't manage them, you're gonna lose them. It's just like the three individuals that uh, got the gifts, and one of them buried their gift, right? It was like, hey,
Right.
I want to make sure it's going to be here always, and then other
Right.
two went out and made more with it, right?
That's right.
Well, the one that buried his gift got his gift taken away and given to the person that went out and produced 10, right? And
Right.
so and so you look at that and you say, well, why are we here?
Mm-hmm.
Clearly we're here for a bigger purpose. And clearly
Right.
we're supposed to be producing for each other. And what happens is when I produce at a high level, right, and I give it out, the residual for me in the world that we live in is I get money, right? But that's just a
Right.
residual effect of me sharing my gift with the world, right? When I go speak in front of audiences and companies and I do all of that, that's me sharing my gifts. And
Hmm.
then they give me a check for that, right?
Right.
My my gift is providing for me. My gift is providing for me. And so when you hear, people say all the time, your gift will make room for you, it's just saying your gift will provide for you. And so when we find ourselves not having the things that we believe we're supposed to have, we don't have enough or something, then you have to lean into your gift. That means you're not leaning into your gift, right? Because your gift will provide for you better than you can provide for
Hmm. Oh, I love that. Well, and then think about this. So your gift by you, oh, man, by you operating in your gifting, you had a great story when you first spoke because you didn't even know this public speaking was a gift you had.
you.
In
Yeah.
fact, you hated to do it. You were like, and you
Yeah.
just got thrust into it, and you were speaking to a group of boys,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So you're like those boys will remember what you said, and the ones that apply what you said will not be put back in a situation that they were in, or they can get out of the situation. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
by you operating in your gift, you're planting seeds for them to finally understand that they're the tree.
It's so many things happen in that moment,
Man,
Bradley, when I look back at it, right? So one, me sharing and giving out what I had and didn't even know what it was going to be, but being able to do that, obviously that was a gift for them, but it also was a gift for me, right?
right,
So when I gave my gift out and been able to speak with them and resonate with them and share my experiences, I found my gift. I didn't know that was a gift. So that was the gift for me, that I found my gift. And then because I found that gift, I was able to make tens and tens of thousands of dollars doing that I would have never
yeah,
been able to do, right?
right,
And so when you start operating in your gift, those most people can't make $100,000 in a month, right?
right,
And it's not because they don't have the ability to do it, right? It's because most of the time we're not operating in our gift, and our gift is what's going to allow us to be able to do that, right? And so I went from being a NFL athlete to uh, figuring out where I'm going to go next in life and trying to build companies, just trying to just do things. And then all of a sudden, boom, I plugged into the space. And then all of a sudden I'm speaking, making tens of thousands of dollars per speech. And then, and not to say it was effortless, but it wasn't a whole lot of, like, it wasn't like killing myself, right? It wasn't like going to tour days and training, like it wasn't that type of party, right? And so it's easier, your gift is easier on you, right? You naturally are like a tree that's producing fruit. It's not hard for that tree to produce that fruit, right?
right.
The tree just need the conditions to be right, right?
That,
And
that's I was gonna say that signals aligned, right? That root has taken root,
mhm,
and you when you find that we're in that space, like you said, your gift will make room for you.
yep. And but it's a
You
it's a
know,
it's a it's a process, right? So
yeah,
when that tree is growing, right? Nobody really cares about that tree. So listen to what I'm saying, right? So the tree is becoming what it needs to become. So as Corey's
right,
becoming what he needs to become, I'm not ready to produce fruit yet. I'm
right,
just becoming the tree, right? And so
yeah,
when you're becoming the tree, it's more of a lonelier experience, right?
hmm,
And then you become the tree. And you're so proud, like, man, I'm the tree now, and I produce all of this fruit, right? And that's where we get lost because we think that people are coming for us, right? But it's like, no, like they're coming for this experience that we're able to provide. And because we grew into this tree, we think people are supposed to be proud of the tree. It's like people don't like, the tree is just a tree, right? Like imagine if you walked outside right now and grabbed the apple off a tree. You wouldn't think twice
hmm,
about the tree. You just walk
right,
outside, wow, look at all those apples. You
Well,
wouldn't be
that's a great point, and I want to touch on that too because you made me think of something. So my grandparents, they had, I think they had 6 or 7 different types of apple trees in their little garden,
Mhm,
and they attended to that tree quite a bit, quite a bit. They
mhm,
made sure if a freeze came through, they'd cover it. They made sure there was the right fertilizer. They made sure that you know there wasn't like they didn't believe in pesticides, so that made it harder to keep the critters away from it. So it didn't, But those, I'll never forget, those apples were some of the best apples I've ever had. Now I didn't think about the tree,
mhm.
but they thought about the tree. My Especially my grandfather. My grandmother was thrilled to death when we started growing oranges. She
Yep.
thought that was the coolest thing in California. She was like, "Look at that! We got great and tangerines. She loved that too. And plums. We had a plum tree as long as I was. My God, and she loved those. My grandfather was all about the apple tree and the plum tree. How important is it? Because I love what you're saying, and it's absolutely true. If it wasn't for my grandparents, really, man, I can just see him now taking, I can just see him. I can see my grandfather taking one of them apples, my grandmother taking them plums. How important is it to get the right people around you to help you grow? Now, the masses are gonna, and you could count me as I was a grandson, and so I
Mhm.
would take them apples, and I didn't think twice about the tree. My grandfather sure did. How important
Yeah,
is it to surround yourself with people that are going to tend to you when you're growing and make sure that you keep producing fruit?
yeah. I think it's important for you to understand, or for us to understand, the role of the people in our lives, right?
Yeah.
Um, me and my mom, we had a great relationship, great relationship.
Yeah.
And she put a lot into me, right?
Hmm.
I'm now married. I have a wife. We have a great relationship. However, it would be very unfair of me to expect my wife to be able to provide what my mom provided for me, right?
Mm.
Because my mom, when I was a seed, I wasn't even a thing, right? And my mom had
Yeah.
a special bond with me, right? And so everyone else outside of the people that are there from the beginning, right? The molding you into what you need to be, they all, even though they can provide value for us, my wife can provide value for me. She can help, me grow as a man, but they all need something from us. They need that fruit.
Mm.
My mom didn't need the fruit from me. My dad don't need the fruit from me, right?
That's right.
Them just knowing that I'm producing the fruit is enough for them. They're like, wow. Like they're proud of the fact that I'm able to become the tree and produce the fruit.
Yeah.
Where we get in trouble is if we're not producing fruit, we want the people outside of them to be okay with that. They can't be
Mm.
okay with that, right? If my wife met me and I was producing fruit, right? Her expectations is he's going to be producing fruit, right? And
Right.
even if I have an off season, her
Yeah.
expectation still is, well, next season he's going to produce fruit, right? We want to put those type of expectations on people that can't carry those expectations. They need something
Mm.
from us. And we have to make sure that we're taking the responsibility because we're supposed to be providing it for them, right? And so if me as a man, get confused and be like, well, my mama loved me unconditionally, and you know you should be like that. She doesn't have that responsibility in that way. She still needs
Mm.
something from me when my mom didn't need anything from me. My mom nourished me, right? My mom provided for me. My dad provided for me, right? Now so that I can go out and provide for you, right? Like that's how it works. And sometimes we get really confused by that and saying, "Oh, people are supposed to just, no, we have to do something." And that's why it's been established that way when you look at it biblically, that we're
Hmm.
supposed to be actively doing this. That's the reason for it, right? And so what I give my kids, right? I don't need anything back from them. But my sons, their wives, going to need something back from them. My daughter, her husband's going to need something back from her, right? And so we just have to keep it in perspective and understand that we're supposed to be delivering our fruit to the people that's close to us, and then also people that I never met that said, "Wow, like you touched me in a way," and I think that's when you really feel the magnitude of your gift. You're like, man, you so grateful to be able to be in that position to say, man, I really am walking in a gift that allows me to touch people that I never even met or never even seen before.
Well, I got to tell you, I already know this is by far one of the best shows we've done, and I didn't think it was possible. But I think this is even better than the last one we did together. Stick around real quick. We have one more to do. As you were talking about being married,
Hmm.
right? So you know something about being in the doghouse.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So get this. All right, look, if you get in a house, celebrating a house, or in the doghouse, go to Klein's Jewelry. Get some jewelry. They ship worldwide. They're Houston legends. Have been around since 1965. Klein's, their designers are amazing. Mark Klein and his family are some of my favorite people, and especially being a jewelry guy myself, they're good people to know. But get a hold of Klein's Jewelry. The website is www.kleinsjewelry.com, and give them a call. They got a brand new showroom, brand new store in Hedwig Village, and I was there not too long ago, and it is fantastic. It's really nice. So, like I said, you in the doghouse, go to Klein's Jewelry and get out of that doghouse as soon as humanly possible, please. Because if you're not operating in your gift. I'm just telling you. Corey, man. Excuse me. Bro, I man, I know we're booked for an hour and a half. I want to be respectful of your time. But I know beyond the shadow of a doubt, I know this message will resonate with so many people. So many people. We forget it. We forget that. Here's the other thing too that I think that we do. We forget that we're the tree because we've put ourselves in the fruit. You know what I mean by that?
Hmm.
And so we think that we become what we do.
Yep.
And it hurts us when we think, well, wait a minute, you know, all of a sudden the separation's made and it's like, well, I'm more than a CEO, or I'm more than a talk show host. I'm more than that. And people are like, well, that's great. And we'll get to know you. But I want to learn something from this show. I want to, right. So this show for me is fruit
Hmm.
that people are taking a bite of, and I love it. But I'm especially now, I'm under no illusions that if the show went away, well, it went away. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's really interesting, and it's one of those things that you make the case biblically for it. You made the it's because it's everything. People also forget that we're spiritual beings.
Hmm.
People also forget that whatever you subscribe to, look, you need to be operating in those gifts that God gave you. And if you're not, it's almost like getting a gift. Like you give your kid a gift, right? And he looks at it and crumples it up, throws it across the room. And that costs you a lot.
Yep.
That costs that, and it's almost like that. It's almost like having the recipient spit in your face for the gift that it took so much to give you.
Yeah, and Bradley, I would say like we have to take the time to sit with our gifts and understand what our gifts are doing for us, right?
Yeah.
It's like if I got a gift and it was a shovel, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want a shovel. Like what I want a shovel for? right? But if I didn't know like that the land that I was on had diamonds under it, right? And my shovel
Preach.
was for me to get to those diamonds. I'm gonna discard the shovel and like I'm gonna be disgruntled about it. I don't want a shovel. Here, you take the shovel, Bradley. I don't want this, right? And Bradley gets the shovel. Bradley said, I wonder what's under this dirt. Now somebody else has got the fruits that you supposed to got out of your labor, but because you discarded the thing that you needed to get you to what you're supposed to have, you miss out on that. And so we miss out on things all the time, man. We miss out on what we supposed.
Mm.
And sometimes, you can look around and say, I've been in situations where I looked around Brandon and I'm like, I don't think God wants this for me. I
Yeah.
don't think God want me to be in this type of position, right? And so let me
Right.
figure out what He gave me to make sure I'm not in this position, right? Because
Right.
He gave you something, Bradley. He gave me something to make sure that I'm okay. He gave me something to make sure my family's okay. He gave me something, right, to make sure other families are okay. And so we just have to sit back and say, what did He give me, right? And I made a statement on one of my social media platforms. I want to say last week, and I'm like, some people supposed to be right now owning 5 to 10 hair salons and having branded products in stores,
Mhm.
right? But because they didn't believe in what they had, right? They're somewhere working on a job they hate, doing something they don't desire to do, and making less than they ever should be making in this world, right?
Mhm.
Because they didn't lean into that idea. Like sometimes your gift is just coming up with great ideas. And it's like, now let me pursue this idea. But we don't pursue the idea. And when we don't pursue the idea, but then it's like, I'm hungry, right? Well, God is like, well, I gave you this idea that will be able to provide more than enough for you, but because you didn't pursue the idea, now how you gonna eat? Like what are you gonna do?
Man.
And
Yeah.
so we get confused sometimes by not pursuing the ideas. Like it could be a simple idea that can change our lives, and if we don't pursue it, like you got to ask yourself, why did that come to me? Why did that thought come to me? Why did that idea come to
Mhm.
me? Right? What am I supposed to do with this? Is it just a random thought I'm supposed to discard? Right? If you
Mhm.
believe that, then that's what you believe. But I don't believe it's random at all. I don't believe that me having a
Mhm.
thought of, let me get on this bus and show up at this little junior college, even though they have 25 basketball players already. I know that they don't have 25 basketball players better than me, right?
That's right.
And
That's
so,
right.
but I had that thought. I could have easily discarded that thought, right? Like, oh, that's crazy. But we do it all the time.
Do it all the time.
Yeah, and God is a genius. He's like, let me give him another one, right?
Right.
He didn't use that. Let me give you another one then, right? And then
That's
before
right.
long, at some point, you have to recognize, like, oh, he's throwing me an alley oop. God is
That's
throwing me,
right.
and all I got to do is catch it and slam dunk it, right?
That's right.
But he keep throwing them, like, but he's that type of guy too, right? Like he's not gonna
Yeah.
like leave you high and dry. He like, oh, he missed that one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
yeah, he missed that one. Let me throw him another one, right?
And here's what's interesting too about that, because we have an enemy too. And when, let's say, that idea, and you pursue it and you do it, and it doesn't get to where it was, or it's stolen or whatever, it's so important for us to not be bitter, because then the bitterness will have us focused on that one thing,
Hmm.
and we miss all the rest of the shots, all the rest of the passes that God's trying to give us. And then
Yeah,
we're wondering why,
Bradley,
I mean,
Bradley,
man.
real life experience, right? Played
Mhm.
basketball 4 years in college. Was one of the top rebounders in the nation. Averaged a double double. Trying to get to the NBA hard as possible. I'm talking about as humanly possible. I'm doing everything.
Mhm.
Doesn't happen. Now, when I was in high school, Bradley, a football coach told me, "Say, hey, you playing the wrong sport, bro. Like you should be playing
Right.
football. You'll be a first round draft pick. I'm telling you, you got the skill set, the size, the speed. You got everything you need, right?" I'm like, man, I'm playing basketball. I'm not listening to this guy, right? So I chase this thing, right? Doesn't work out. This is how God throw you another oop, right? So
Ooh,
didn't work out. So now I'm like, man, I don't want to go overseas. So my thing was I had some school left. So I'm like, I was really buying time, right? I was like, I'm just gonna go back to school,
right.
right? So I go back to University of Nevada. Football coaches walk up and said the exact same thing my high school coach said. Hey man, you've been playing the wrong sport. Here's God throwing the oop again. Come, come,
Mm-hmm.
come play football, man. Play football that one semester, signing an NFL contract in the spring, like maybe like 4 months later.
But how that happened too is amazing. So that guy had 30, was it 30 scouts
Yeah. 30
that
NFL
came to
scouts.
work you 30 NFL, 30, think about that. 30 NFL scouts. My God.
And
How many
Bradley,
teams are they?
they didn't,
And they watched basketball. I'm sorry.
and they didn't even come to see me, but I was in proximity, right? So that's the genius of God, right? If
Genius.
we can put ourselves in the right proximity, then our gifts can be discovered by the right people, right? And so because I was in proximity, because we had a couple guys that did really well, they were going to get drafted. So they
Yeah.
came to see those guys. And then it was like, hey, but we got a basketball player out here, right? And so that's how that happened. But
It's amazing. It's
God
amazing.
he gonna throw you another one. He gonna throw
Yeah.
you another one, Bradley. No matter what happens, Quirks can close down tomorrow. He gonna throw me another one, right?
Amen.
Like that's just who he is. And my job is to catch it and finish it.
Corey, stay right there. We got one more segment. We're going to go into final thoughts. And oh my Lord. I mean, usually I would say, oh, well, let's, Corey, thanks so much for coming on today. I want you here for final thoughts, man. You got to be. You got to be. So stick around, okay?
Got it.
Okay? All right. Hold steady. First off, everybody, let's thank Corey Jackson for coming on Work Your Career Wednesday yet again. Open invitation anytime you want. And man, thanks you because I reached out to you. I'm like, man, I saw that thing. You need to come on the show like now. Like this is how to happen. So thanks so much for coming on. And this is a new segment that we're doing called Final Thoughts. And you've given me and you've given the audience so much today. So much. I have so many takeaways from what you said. And man, just it's like a confirmation for me that I know I'm operating in my gift, and I know that there's more stuff I have to do though. There's more stuff I have to do. And it's putting me just right back on the horse. Cause like we talk about, recovery is one thing, but really it's something new.
Mm-hmm.
And you can sometimes get complacent in the recovery. It's not recovery. It's all new.
Yep.
And so you got to keep on pushing and keep on going. Brother, if you could, just bless our audience with some final thoughts and what they should walk away with after they've listened to this show today.
Yeah. Bradley, when you kind of see my videos or maybe my lives, I always say losing is a choice, but winning is a lifestyle.
That's right.
Our daily walk, the things that we do on a daily basis, those are the things that allow us to be what we need to be. Like it's about being you every single day, being what God made you to be every single day. Sometimes you get tired. Sometimes you feel unappreciated. Sometimes you just feel like it's not working. But I promise you, if you're doing it every single day, you're going to end up where you're supposed to be. And that's what I mean about losing is a choice. Losing is just a metaphor for just not operating the way we're supposed to, or giving up, or quitting, or feeling pity for ourselves. And the lifestyle is showing up every day, knowing that it's a purpose for this day. It's a reason why I'm here. It's a reason why people want to experience what I have to offer. And if we can do that, and we can find a way to do that every day, doesn't mean you're going to win all the time. But what it does mean is you're going to eventually get to the top of that mountain, as long as you continue to keep fighting for it.
Amen. Amen. I absolutely love that. Wholeheartedly agree. And I got to tell you, I have I have little to add to that, except for thank you.
Thank you,
Man,
man.
thank you.
Thank you.
I got to tell you, if people grab onto this, you just gave a masterclass on so many aspects. I mean, talk about a tree. It has the roots, it has the branches, it has the fruit, it has the leaves, it has all that, man. Wow. This is great. And I'm telling you, um, I'm so appreciative that you're operating in this gift.
Man, thank you
I got
so
to
much.
tell you,
Thank you so much.
thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Guys, listen, you can go find Corey all over LinkedIn. Um, just type in Corey Jackson. We'll have links to Quirks and links to, on Instagram too, at Winning is a Lifestyle. If you're not following them on Instagram, uh, you know what I'm gonna tell you, if you're not following him on Instagram, even to get ideas for the right fit, then then you're doing yourself a disservice. This man looks sharp, boy. I tell you, and I got, man, just thank you so much. You got to come back. But everybody watching, everybody listening, go to his LinkedIn profile. Go follow him on LinkedIn. If you're an early riser, you're gonna. It's great to go live because he'll be on that bike and he'll go, "Hey Bradley, what's going on? Hey, what's going on, Fred? Hey, what's up, man? You know what I mean?" And so we're all in it together, man. And he comes up with these really great ideas. I mean, like every single day. And what really got me too, what you said, operating every morning. I wonder if that's one of the reasons why God wants us to be thankful every morning and to pray every morning. Like when your feet hit the ground, you go,
Mhm.
Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for waking me up. Thank you for all that. And then it sets you up. Because I notice when I don't do that, my day is off.
Yep. Yep.
Everything takes longer and I'm struggling. It's like going through mud. So you just made me think of this. Like, wow, I wonder if that's why. Because God's so multifaceted. There's a reason why He wants you to do everything. And so I wonder if that's one of the reasons why it's like, man, okay, you get your feet on the floor, you get ready for the day, you're thankful, you're grateful, you operate in that heart of thankfulness and gratefulness, and then you get up and you go attack the day. And
Yeah. And I would say this, Bradley, too. Like, because if we're doing this the right way, and we're giving out as much as we can, we have to go connect back to the source to get
yeah,
replenished, right? Where we're going to get replenished from. And so that being grounded and connecting back to the source just revamps us, and it's
yeah,
get us rejuvenated and back ready to go. And so that's kind of how I look at it, and that's kind of me when I'm up early and I'm operating. I'm connecting to the source. I
mhm.
need to be filled, right? So that I can empty out that cup today and then come back tomorrow, get filled, and do it again, right? And then lastly, I am on YouTube as Corey
Oh,
Jackson's.
that's right, man. I forgot you got your channel now.
Yeah, so I have my channel now. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. So trying to get it to where it's consistent. But it's Corey Jackson, CEO, um, is the channel, and I'm talking more about uh, doing content around high performance lifestyle, like how do you perform at the highest levels, and how do you stay up here and play at that level. And so it's really content to keep you every day balanced out at the highest level so that you can peak out and then, like we were talking about, come back tomorrow and do it again, right? And so if you enjoy that type of content, that's what we're focusing on: high performance, performing at the highest levels.
YouTube.com/at Corey Jackson CEO. Do not walk, run. Your little fingers, little mouse pad, and all that, and go subscribe and watch all those videos. Man, I'm sorry, I forgot you had a channel now, and that's fantastic. And I've seen the videos, and they are fantastic. I know you see my likes. I know
Oh
you
yeah,
have.
oh yeah. But like I said, I'm working on, just developing that channel in a way. So I'm doing some long form stuff, some short form stuff, just trying to really kind of get a good feel for how we want to drive content
Yeah.
in that space. So obviously I appreciate the support, and
Oh,
as
you
we kind
have
of
it.
develop the channel.
You have it. YouTube.com/at Corey Jackson CEO. I'm subscribed. You got to subscribe. Instagram, Winning is Lifestyle. Search your name on LinkedIn. You will not regret it. And YouTube, again, youtube.com/at Corey Jackson CEO. Corey, thank you so much for coming on. And again, you got an open invitation. And when I reach out, thank you for saying yes. I appreciate it so much, man.
My pleasure, and
So
I love what you're doing, man. I love what you're doing, and I always try
thanks.
to tap in and check out your content as well. I love people that are doing great things and helping and giving back to people, whether that's spiritually, emotionally, across the board. So definitely hats off to you, man.
Man, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really do. Man, I don't know what to say. Thank you so much, Corey, for that. And thanks for coming on again. And got to tell you, everyone that is within the sound of my voice, go follow Corey Jackson at all those platforms. We'll have the links in the description. And again, for all of us here at White Husky Films, James Physical Therapy, Klein's Jewelry, Courtney Turek, Colleen Greco, Corey Jackson. Let me tell you this, that we all love you and God bless you. And let his face shine upon you and give you great peace. Be excellent to yourself and each other. And we will see you next week. Thanks a lot, guys.